It looks like we are live, everybody. Welcome once again to What Were You Thinking? I am Bob Siosic, filling in here again. In case you guys don't know, I am the founder and CEO of World's Greatest. We're doing a lot of great things in and around the world of track and field and other Olympic sports. I will be joined shortly by my co host. Jessica Beard. I'm going to have her, Jess, refresh. Let's see, and she should be joining us shortly. Um, we have a really special guest. We have Gianna Woodruff. She'll be on as well, and it should be like a really fun show. So let me do something really quick here to make sure Jess has um, the right link. And I see Gianna here. So let me first bring Gianna in, and then make sure Jess has the right link, and then Gianna can help me kind of get through this stuff, right? So we'll bring her in and kind of start the show, and kind of roll from there. Gianna has a really exciting. There she is.
Hello.
What's going on?
What it do? How you doing?
Hey, it's so good to see you. So I need you to hold down the show for a minute while I do a little technical something with
Oh, no
Jessica.
problem.
All
So
right.
it's
So
on now.
maybe why don't you give a little rundown of what you have coming up while I send Jess a new link to make sure she's good.
Okay.
What's coming up in your world?
Well, hello everyone. What's coming up this week? We have Drake relays. Actually, we're leaving on Thursday, and then we race on Saturday, and it's going to be actually a hurdle mechanic crew at the in that heat for the 400 hurdle. So that's going to be really fun. Myself, Dalila, Anna
Very
Cockrell,
cool.
and Drenette Knight. So it's going to be a little showdown for us, but it's going to be
You're
fun.
doing you're doing the whole hurdle mechanic crew. I really like that. I wish we were there.
I know. Oh wait, you guys just have your own thing
We,
going on.
we're at Penn Relays right now. We're in Philly.
Oh, okay. There are going to be a few people from our group going there as well.
Yeah,
Will
who's
London going and Nicole Jurgen.
I did see Will in the
Yeah.
start list. Yeah, so we'll have to track those guys down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be there holding it down. Maybe Bryce. I'm not sure on that though. Don't quote me, but
I didn't see him yet, but I haven't looked at the
I
new
might-
start list today. But oh, here's Jess. Let's bring her in. We got it figured out. See, technology.
hey,
You got to flow with it. You got to flow with it.
as
It's
always.
it's so good to see your face though. It's been too
I know
long.
it's been a while. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Gianna. How are you?
Good and you?
Good.
Jessica, what is going on?
Nothing, trying to work technology. It's
Me
sometimes
too. Oh
me.
my God. My day today has been, you guys are kind of like, I've been like a little bit DMing, texting you, like trying to keep you up to speed. But it was like, we started the day in New York. We were picking up gear. We're getting all of our stuff. We're coming down to Philly, a little craziness. We're shooting with Devon kind of around the city. But then last minute, so I figured Devon's in. He said he was in. Last minute, he's like, new plans. Um, I got some tickets from the guys at the Eagles, and I'm like, so that sounds good, but we need a co-host. so,
And here you are.
so I'm
Everything
back.
just worked out.
Everything worked out. So I feel like we're doing 400-meter something almost. It feels like almost every episode. It's hurdles or it's no hurdles, but it feels like 400-meter something.
I mean, we run the world 400 like hurdles and sprinting. That's just is what it is.
I agree.
So, do you guys know each other? Have you guys met?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. We actually roomed together before, so
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
that was
That's
the first
cool.
time. Yes, so yes, and it was a great time actually.
Yes, it was. Great experience.
Where did you guys room together?
We were in Budapest.
Um, yeah,
Well, Hungary. It wasn't really Budapest. It
yeah,
was outside. Well, actually, it wasn't Budapest. Yeah,
yeah, it
it was
was.
like in between. We were traveling to some other races, and we came
Right.
to hang out. Like, oh hey, hey roommate, what's
Yeah.
up?
All right, so there's little stuff like that that I'm so curious about. So when you, so how does that come about? Like how do you get paired up as roommates? Is this just random? Like how does this work?
In that case, it was. It just depends on the meet and the meet director, I believe. Sometimes if you have the same agent, they'll group you with someone who you have the same agent as. Other times they'll they do a lot of weird things. Like sometimes they will room you with people that you're competing against. Like I had
Hmm.
a roommate once and she's like, "Hi." She was so nice. She's like, "What event are you doing?" "I'm doing the 400." I was like, "The 400?" She's like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh gosh, okay. No friends here." So I'm just like, "Okay."
What lane are you in?
I know. It's just
Like a
like,
little awkward, huh?
yeah. I was like, "Oh." Outside of if it's for some people, I don't mind rooming with them. We do the same event but it just depends, I feel like. Would you agree, John? Like I think
No, I agree completely. Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of the times, like, yeah, if you have the same agent, your room, or sometimes like certain diamond leagues, they'll ask you who you want to like to
Yeah.
have as your roommate, and so like sometimes I'll just pick, my training partners because we're always
Right.
together. But if we're like running the same event, I don't mind though, because
Yeah.
I mean we all train together like all day, every day, but it's generally the same thing. They just be like, oh well, you just gonna be with whoever you're gonna be with, pretty much.
Well, in
This
your case too, Jana, some of your training partners are your competitors.
Exactly. But
So
I don't mind that. I mean, we see each other literally every day, and I have roomed with Dalila and Nina before, so and actually Anna. So it's never a problem. I mean, we're all focused and super honed in, but then it can be like kind of awkward too, sometimes. But I think it might be awkward if you don't know the person. Maybe
yeah.
if you know the person, then it's a little better. I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
It's a little better because it's like,
a
you
smidge.
yeah. Like if Phyllis is my roommate and I mean only one of us could win, or maybe we both be like, girl, how was that race for you? It's like, It's like me
Right.
too. And so like we're bonding over that. Or
Mhm.
like I said, sometimes it just depends on the person, I think also. Because for some people, for me, I can leave the track at the track. Like I don't have to
Definitely.
yeah, and I just realized like waddling was my roommate. And I'm like, man, we're both running the open 400, and I've never had her as a roommate, so I didn't know how that was gonna be because I'm like, I don't know if she's like, why would they put me with my competitor? But she was just the complete opposite, and I feel like it doesn't matter which way you are. I do understand that for some people you don't want to cross that line, but I feel like that decision is already determined at the line. Like it's not gonna be like, "Oh, you're my friend. Go ahead, pass me.
That
Go
is
ahead.
true.
You take this. No, you take it. No, you take it." It's just like everybody's trying to take it. So
Hmm.
I think that's just a part of it. And like John said, I would prefer somebody that I do know over somebody that I don't. So
but imagine if like Tom Brady was rooming with, you know, I don't know, a defensive lineman from the opposite team. Like that would be a ridiculous concept.
yeah, he's gonna have his
You
own
can think about
room. His family's gonna
that.
have
Yeah,
Yeah.
his
that is very true. Hmm.
got kids,
He's gonna have his own room. He's gonna have his own league. He's
own
They'd be
hotel.
at the different
yeah.
His
hotel. Yeah, like they wouldn't even be in the same
his family.
situation. That is so true.
I
Hmm.
think it might be different for football though. Do you think that some? I feel like if it's between me and somebody else that has to start, like I'm feeling away, like that you in my place. I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
with track, it's like you gonna have a lane, I'm gonna have a
Oh,
lane.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
Nobody can
it's an
take
even
that
playing field
lane
right
away
there.
from me. Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. That's actually kind of interesting. So
So
you're competing and at the same time, while you say like, you know, there's 8 lanes across, right? And only one can win. So I'm gonna, someone has to take that spot, right? But it's not the same as, oh, we have all these games and you're ahead of me in that position,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah. We were talking to Devon today. I want to ask you guys this question. So we're talking to Devon today. So for people who are just kind of tuning into this, so Devon Allen, who's been, one of our mainstay hosts on the show, 110-meter hurdler. He just recently got signed by the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL as a wide receiver. So he's now kind of dual. Like this morning, he spent all day at the Eagles facility, just kind of, getting his sea legs and learning the playbook and all that kind of stuff. But we were doing like some interviews with him today, and it just kind of dawned on me that when we were doing the interview that like he's going from a completely solo sport to an entirely team sport. You know, what's your guys' take on that? Like on things that you think will be good for Devon, and what can transfer into like an NFL situation, and what things you think are he has to overcome because of that?
From what I know about were you gonna go? Oh.
So,
From what I know about Devin, he's super competitive. Like he really, I don't think anybody likes losing, but just some of his perspectives are very cut and dry. And so to me, I think it'll be very interesting because it's only so much you can do as in your position. It's only so much the quarterback can do, the lineman can do. You hear about different people say, "Oh, this person has the most sacks, the most catches, the most," and they could be on a terrible team.
Yeah,
So it I think it just is gonna just depend on how well he performs, and the better he does, you the better for the brand and the team essentially. But it's only, like I said, it's only so much Devin can do. So knowing him, I don't know what he'll want. I don't know if he'll want like, man, I gotta have 10 catches gotta have this many yards. It just depends on whatever his goal is for himself and how that goal fits into the overall picture for the Eagles and their offense, their defense. It's
yeah.
not just like, oh, it's the offense, it's the defense, it's the quarterback, it's the play call, and there's so many factors I feel like in football that affect how well a team does. So
What do you
I feel
think,
like
John,
I
on
can.
that?
I feel like I can agree with that. But I think that his competitive nature will help him. I don't know him like a lot, but I mean, I see him on the circuit and stuff. But from what I do know, I feel like his competitive nature will help him a lot. Like to help, with the team. Maybe that can help build the team up. Like if you have one person who's like super like about trying to win all the time, then it might create that environment for everybody else to be like, like we just want to do the best. And he played in college. So I think that, his adjustment, I mean, I know he hasn't been in it, for these years since, I guess, since whenever he wasn't playing in college. But I think this might, it might not be as foreign to him as we might think it might be. But I wish him the best. That's super dope for him to be able to do that, be able to do track and, football, shine the light on both of them. So that would be good for us.
I think so. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up a little bit. I didn't want to talk a whole lot about Devin because he's not here. So what I
at the
do think
game,
he's at the game. He left us out of the game.
Right?
What is
Oh,
going on?
I hope
like,
he got courtside seats.
He's in a box apparently. So if
Oh,
he,
that's even better.
I
even better.
think it's better. Don't you guys?
I
I
love
don't
the
even.
box. It comes
Oh
with
my god.
It
snacks.
got
I'm
food.
not at the NBA game, but just at A&M. I was like, this is what's in these sweets. This is nice. Wow.
Right? Sweet life is
Lovely.
nice.
So I can only imagine the next level. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I
He's
went to a
probably eating.
Rangers game one time and I was just like, man, I don't want this game to end. I'm up in the box. I can barely see the game because the box is so high, but it's like, please don't end this game. The
Yeah,
food's good, the drinks are good. I'm having a lot of laughs.
yeah, for sure.
So, Gianna, normally we leave this question for the end, but I actually want to pull it all the way here to the beginning. we ask a question, what were you thinking in a certain time? And Jess, I know you're gonna have like a more important question than me, but I'm gonna have the obvious question. I
Okay.
want to know, what were you thinking when you knew you made the Olympic team?
Um, I mean, it's still surreal, honestly, right now. I didn't really have words because I think I had ran, the A standard, the qualifying time to make the team, and then they had sent me like a letter and everything, and I was like, wow, I was just pretty much in shock. But it's being in Coach Johnson's group, we're just always like, what's next? Like we just always kind of are looking at the next thing and like what can we do to make it to that final? Like we're happy to go, okay, and then we come back on Monday, and then it's like back to the grind again. But it was amazing. I mean, I feel like I have I was kind of like really calm and quiet because that's just kind of how my nature is a little bit. I don't try to act like, I don't know, super like excited, even though on the inside I was like, having a whole heart attack because I have like other people who can do it for me. And literally all of Panama was like having a whole like heart attack. So it was amazing though, like to say all that. It was great. It was a good feeling.
Jess, you have some questions around that, or do you want to save yours till later on that one?
I'll save mine till later.
So I wanna throw this out to both of you, but it's an observation. So Jess, we were shooting a series. So we did an episode of Superhuman Stories with Gianna um, and Dalila, and but we were doing a whole series on the group, right? Focused on Boogie, but it really was a series about the group. And the whole goal was to take people inside this world, just to show everybody, you know, there's a whole process of how this happens. This is not like, oh, I'm signing up for the Olympics this year and now I'm going to the Olympic. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So we had shot, I think Gianna, we had shot 3 times prior. So the last time um before Eugene, right?
Mhm.
Um or was it at, no, was it at, no, it was before Eugene.
I did a segment at Eugene as well, and then I
But
think
we were
we
at
did one
Fort
after.
Worth. We were at Fort Worth, and so we're shooting, and we're like, and we're at AP Ranch, right? We're shooting, and then you came limping in.
Yeah.
So Jess,
Oh my gosh.
She shows up limping in. She's like, "Hey, everybody,"
Why
we're
was she
saying,
limping? Why were you limping?
"Name,
This
chip, or
was
something."
literally like 2 weeks before the Olympics.
Tell the story. We were like, "Oh my god!" Like chills are coming down me
You
right
think
now
you
because
was,
I'm
oh
like,
my God, imagine me.
I know this. So tell everybody what happened.
So pretty much we're having a hurdle workout. And we start off with 300 over hurdles. So we're pretty much running the back 200 over hurdles. And then we have a break. And so we're thinking we may be done, because we did a hard good one. We ended up doing 500 over hurdles. And so, just I was a little gassed. I was a little tired. I'm coming over the bend after that last two for the last 200. That last 100, my legs gave out. I didn't get over the hurdle, and so I pretty much just like clipped the hurdle, and my knee just like smacked right into the ground, and I just like knocked all the wind out of me. And when I got up, I was like I couldn't walk. I said, "Oh, you know." And I just hear Coach Johnson, but he's like at the other end of the track, still like waiting for Dalila to finish the rep. He's like, "You good, G? You good?" I'm like, I'm okay. Just like give me a second. I'll be up in a minute. So I'm just trying to walk limp over. My knee was literally like this big for like a week, and I had to, and this was like 2 weeks before, so I was having a whole panic attack. I literally could not believe. I was like, Lord, what have I done? Like what have I done for this to happen to me right now? But it was just one of those moments. And of course, Coach Johnson, so cool, like so calm and chill about the situation. Was like, you're gonna be okay. We're just gonna have you have this, like, take this whole week off. Like, I was literally getting treatment every day. I like, but I was still at the track because like I couldn't not be at the track. So that was hence when I saw them and they were like, "Yo, like you were just fine 2 weeks ago. Like what happened now?" I'm like, "This just happened yesterday. I don't even want to talk about it." But and of course, Coach Johnson, making jokes about just trying to make light of the situation. Because when I tell you, I got home that day and I was literally in the bathroom, and I definitely cried for like 20 minutes because I was just like, man, like. And then everything ended up working out really well. My knee was back to normal like a week later, but that first practice going back was really really hard because like you're just trying to compensate for it, and you don't know like you just don't trust it that it's gonna be okay. And Coach Johnson, he was just pushing me. I definitely cried that practice coming back, but it was for the better. So yeah, that was I can't believe
Yay.
it.
Jess, do you have a
Yay!
situation that was kind of like that? Because to me, seeing that, we were all just kind of like in shock, but we didn't want to show anything. But we talked about it all night, Jana.
Oh
But
really?
yeah, I mean, we were just like, oh my God, we're like praying for you. Like, I
Oh,
hope she's okay. In the meantime, we had to shoot everything. But Jess, has something like that happened to you where you're cruising along and everything's going great and all these things are happening, they're very positive, and then something like that kind of takes you out?
Yes, I've had that happen probably twice at really big before a big moment. It's like, no, I have a big moment. I don't have time for this. Like, get it together. Whatever you're doing, don't do it. You're trying to talk to yourself. You're trying to talk to your body. Like, what's really going on? I had a situation similar to that going into 2016, into the trials. I had the best practice of my life that Friday. Phyllis was in town in Claremont. I'm like, oh my gosh, the trials are a few weeks away. I just had the best practice of my life. Literally Monday, I could not jog. I'm like, what happened? I was like, I'm like, what did we do? It's like we had a barbecue. It's like we was at the house. I didn't do no jumping. I didn't do anything. And I was just trying to figure out what happened. And I flew all the way to Ohio to see Dr. Mendezoon. And the back of my knee was swollen. And I was like, why is it swollen? And Doc literally was like, have you ever strained your hamstring? I'm like, no, I haven't. I've never strained my hamstring. He's like, that's not what the ultrasound's showing. At some point, you had like a certain level strain in your hamstring, and he's like, you probably thought it was lactic acid. As an athlete, you feel something, you're like, oh, well, it's not taking me out, and you keep going and going. And he's like, the swelling behind your knee is your hamstrings way of saying, hey, you're doing a lot, and I gotta slow you down. I was like, I don't have time to be slowed down, Doc. Like, I need to go. And so it was just really frustrating. Like Jonathan said, I don't know what to do because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I just had one of the best practices. I'm in a good position. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling ready. And something happens that just is very unexpected. And you have a lot of questions like how did I even get here? So that was definitely tough to deal with. And yeah, yeah, I think it happens. I don't want to say it happens a lot, but it's just interesting how little we hear these stories sometimes.
Mhm.
You hear about different people. It's like the Michael Jordan with the flu kind of thing.
Right.
It's like,
Mhm.
wow, I mean, of course people knew. It's like, oh, he's playing with the flu, or you find out the thing with Tori. Tori at the Olympics, how she like cut her finger or something when she was trying to set the blocks, like the spike went through it or whatever. And it's just these little things that happen, and it's like, how do you respond? What's the best way to respond? I don't know what the initial response is, but what's the best way
Yeah.
to respond? And like Jonathan, I couldn't agree more. As an athlete, you're like, oh my gosh, I need this moment is important to me as an athlete. I work so hard for this moment. I don't want this moment to go any other way but how I envisioned it. So
Mhm.
So is that you guys just like willing that to happen? Is that all? Is it literally the will within you, within your energy, that's like, I'm willing this to happen. I am not stopping, and that's all there is to it.
Oh yeah, that was definitely how I felt. I was like, well, I know this looks kind of crazy right now, and I can't walk. Literally, couldn't walk for like a week. But I'm like, I'm not gonna let this, get in the way. And I think it was Coach Johnson's demeanor that kind of like made me feel a little bit more calm. That where he just was not tripping. He was like, "You'll be okay. that's no problem, but I think because he has to be calm in that situation, because this is like one of the biggest stages that you could possibly be on, and he was like, yeah, we're not going to let this deter us, because we were kind of on a good, we had good momentum. And so and I just think that that just adds to our story, like all these trials and tribulations. It just kind of just that even though we have these things that kind of get in our way, well, initially get in our way, they don't define. We can still get to these meets and championships and Olympics and do what it is that we need to do despite what has happened to us.
Yeah. I agree. I was like it. It reminded me like if I die, I die. Like I feel that kind of way. Like I'm getting out there. That's how I was with my second
Yeah.
injury. I literally strained my Achilles 4 weeks before trials, and so I had to bike. I had to swim. And coming off trials the previous year, I was runner up. I ran my PB. So I'm like, like 2019 about to be even better. And it's just like, what is this? This is not the better that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And so getting out there is just a risk that I was willing to take. I'm like, you've done everything you can. You've gotten all the treatment you can. You've prayed all you can. I feel like all the things that were in my control, I've done them and I've exhausted them. So I've built up to this moment and I just have to take a risk. And I'm hoping that the risk becomes the reward. So that's just really the mindset. Like I have to give myself a chance or opportunity since I'm here. Since I worked hard to be here, I made it here. I have to give myself that opportunity and believe in myself and what I came here to do, even if it might not turn out exactly how I thought it might. At least I'm here and I'm willing to risk it. Risk. I don't want to say it all because I don't want to risk my complete health, but I'm just like if I don't do it, then I'll never know. So I I
Yeah.
have to do it.
How much of that too? I mean, is because you're putting it all on the line. You've had this setback, and how much is having those right people around you, like you're saying, Jana, right? So it did really strike me because you were so in that moment when we saw you. You it was all iced up, but I remember you taking the ice off, and your knee was like a melon, like.
Mhm.
And we were like, I think it was 2 weeks away, right? Something
Yeah,
like
no, it
that.
was literally 2 weeks. I was literally about to leave the next week. I was like,
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, this isn't good. Like this
like
seems
that.
really bad. But you were like, uh, Coach Johnson says it's gonna be good, so I'm good. And you had this demeanor that was just like, but so how much of that though is? I mean, obviously it's you. You're the people that are running the races. It's you. But to help you gather that energy, how much is it to have people around you to help kind of support that energy and kind of fill you with it as well?
Oh, it definitely means everything. Like my family, and I consider my track people like my family as well. Like I literally would not be here without them, And I am away from home. Like my home is Los Angeles, and so now we're in Fort Worth. And so like my track family is like literally all that I have right now, at least out here. And so I think just trusting that, because I would do it for them. And so it's nice for them to have, for it to be reciprocated back to me. But it means everything to me. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just have no worries because like it just like I've known Coach Johnson for a while now, and so like I just like wasn't surprised. But even Lilla was there for sure. Bry was there. Like it was just a long list of people who were there for me, and not only them, but just the physios. Really, my chiropractor was the one who really helped me, get back to normal again. So it's just
Oh,
the
it's a
list goes.
team.
It's a team. Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to do it without them for sure.
You
I
think
agree.
so, Jess? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's something it's something to have people supporting you and they're proud of you, and a lot of that has to do with what you've achieved or what you've accomplished. But like she said, it's something about that inner circle and just that tight knit group that that they're gonna rock and roll with you no matter what. Like they're going to the trenches with you. They're gonna go to war with you, and that's really important. I know for me, I was like, I ain't even telling no outside of like the close people. I was like, I don't. This isn't even something I want to tell a lot of people about because people respond differently and not
Mm,
necessarily in a bad way. I don't think people intend to be negative, but a lot of their feedback or whatever it is, it's not necessarily always helpful. So I was like, social media got to take a break. Like I really need to focus in and have the people that knew were like, "You're gonna be good. How was training? I'm sure it was great." And so just staying positive and keeping the right perspective on things was just really, really important to me, as well as having that the people closest to me who knew who they knew what to do. It's like you don't have to necessarily tell them. You don't have to, and
Mhm.
that's why it's important that people do know. You don't have to tell them like, okay, I need positivity or I need encouragement. They know, and so that's important. So
yeah, I mean, there. So, John, I wanna see. I'm gonna kind of let you think about this. I want to see if you have a question for Jess because I like doing this where I feel like when we have different athletes on, you guys are in different groups, and you're in different events and all that. But to pick the brain of somebody else and someone as accomplished as Jessica, I always think is really interesting to see. So I'm gonna do you have a question that pops up? If not, let's let you think on it and come back to
Anything?
anything, anything. Advice, insight, a new recipe, um, a weightlifting method of how she's doing 405 squats or whatever was going on today.
the quarter squat.
Oh, jeez.
Well, off the rip, just a comment. Your abs be on point. Like
Thank
I swear.
you.
And I really be and I be trying like when you had your tummy Tuesdays, I was definitely trying to like slide in on some of
Hmm.
them.
Hmm. How did it go? How did it go?
It's still going.
Okay, that's
But
all
it's
that matters. That's called
it's coming
progress.
along. It's
Progression.
progress.
It.
But how do you like because you've been running for a while, like, and you've been contracted for a long time. I feel like since you've been out of college, like, how do you mentally like stay in it? I guess that's my question. And yeah, because I mean, I look up to you. Like, you're a legend. I feel like so.
Don't make me cry on here. Thank you. That's very kind. I'm trying to think. It just really depends on the season. I would say the biggest part is, and that's one thing that we definitely bonded on, was just my faith. Like my faith is just so important because I've had highs and then lows and then very lows and kind kind of just mediocre and back to the high. It's just I think the way that I mentally stay in it for the most part is just it took me really asking myself like what do I want? And for a lot of the times I just wanted what was expected of me. I want to win. I want to be the next best whoever 400-meter runner and those things, not that they didn't motivate me, but when I was doing everything I could and the things that were expected of me weren't the results I was seeing, it's pretty discouraging. Like, is it me? Is it my training? Is it my sleep? What really is it? And so for me, the biggest part was breaking down. I did this, shout out to Chase. He was my strength coach for 4 years. And I did this thing. It's like, what things do you do that you need to stop doing that's hindering you from reaching your goals? And what things don't you do that you need to do that are going to help you get to your goals? And those questions, initially, I was just like, more sleep, more whatever. He's like, okay, go back over the weekend because these aren't the answers I was really looking for. And so it just really made me look at myself and say, gosh, I really wasn't maybe mentally I would show up for practice. Like Coach Anderson would tell you, Coach Gary, I'm there at practice. But all the some of the other things, I am a person who wants to help people and do
Mhm.
everything. And so I was like, man, I be saying yes when I really need to say no.
Mm.
Like that was a big kind of breakthrough for me. And I was like, I don't want people to be disappointed. I want to, if my best friends, if you having a baby shower, I want to be there. If you having a wedding, I want to be there. I want to support. And it's just like the travel. I used to travel to see my massage therapist in Georgia. And my cousin was like, you're defeating the purpose. You can't find anybody here in Florida. And so for me, staying in it has just been, as I evolve, just considering what things are, what things am I doing that are benefiting me, and what things am I not doing that's possibly hurting me, and how can I evolve? Because once you find something that works, you like, I want to just keep doing this again and again and again. And I realized that's not necessarily how it always works. And so my faith has really, I was like, I'm telling you, going into 2018, well, 17 and 18, I was like, I feel like I just had mediocre seasons. I was like, Lord, am I trying to force my career? Like, are you telling me to move on? And I'm not listening. And I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? This year, all the things that I pour into other people and want to do for other people, I'm going to pour into myself, into my gift. I'm going to have to tell people no. And people were okay with that. They really understood. So maybe it was just me just putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I had the best season of my life. And I was like,
Mm.
okay. So it kind of was me. I was kind of in a way. And so mentally, I had to keep sowing. That was one thing I said when I finally PB'd. I'm like, it took me 9 years to PB again because I went through,
Wow.
an injury. I went through from college. So I had PB'd my sophomore year of college, and I didn't PB until my 7th year pro. And I was just like, I got close. I got really close 5 years after, but it wasn't a PB. And I was like, I'm glad that I continued to sow good seeds into good ground, even when my harvest wasn't what I thought it should be. Even though the things that were growing were good, but they weren't everything that I felt like they should be, knowing how much I was putting into the sport. And so, like I said, I did get to a point where I was like, am I just trying to prolong something that's over? And I realized I didn't, and I still had something to go. And so I think that's the biggest thing, to keep doing all the right things, the little things. That's how mentally I stay in it, because I'm just like, eventually I'm gonna get my breakthrough. Like, it was so awesome seeing you. Enough about me. It was awesome seeing you get your breakthrough, and because I know how hard we talked about, like, you training
Girl.
and how hard it was, and so I just was like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I could be, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you're having a season, you're
Girl.
having a season. And a lot of times you're like, man, all these things, or you see the times in practice, or you see all these things, you're like, where is it? It's not out there. It's not on the board. It's not on the results
Mhm.
board, but it should be out there, because it's like, when is it gonna all click and come together? And so I just was really happy for you, because I know, not saying you were discouraged or anything, but I know how being an athlete, doing so much and trying so hard and not getting the results you want. So when you finally do get them,
Sure.
it's like, it's like,
No, it literally was, huh? Like, I
So
can let
cool.
my shoulders down just a little bit.
I was like,
So
Thank
oh
you
my
so much. I love that.
goodness.
Oh my
that
God.
is beautiful. That
That's
is
really
beautiful. That's right.
Oh,
because that's I swear, like, and I think that was really the one of the main things that like really helped me, I guess, kind of have that breakthrough, was to be a little bit more selfish, to say
yeah,
no, because I like you,
yeah,
I say yes entirely too many.
yeah,
I want to help, and a
yeah,
little bit too helpful, a little bit too
yeah,
nice, and like this year I was like, nah, like let me be selfish, and it's okay, and they were
yeah,
literally okay with that. I'm like, nah,
yes,
my recovery day, I need to relax. I don't need to be
yeah,
going driving. And I think also
yeah,
moving from home was helpful as well, because
Oh,
I didn't
interesting.
have
Yeah.
like, oh, my homegirl down the street, or I got to go do this for my
mhm,
dad or whatever. So I was literally just out here for track. So it was like, where you gonna go, Jonna? You cannot go nowhere. So no, I thank you for that. I appreciate it.
yes. Yeah, just keep sowing your little seeds, your good seeds into good ground, and it's gonna come. I don't, we're not in charge of how it grows, but we can do our part, and yeah, and so yeah,
Well, I think too part of it. But by the way, I do have a saying with my wife. I'm like, your first answer has to be no. Like that's literally. I'm like, it's not like it's like what you guys are saying. It's not being harsh. It's
yeah,
just no. And then if I want to think about it and change my mind on that thing, I could always do that.
yeah,
But because oftentimes people who are like kind of givers, their French answer is yes, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't think about this and that and the other thing, and it's
Mhm.
not really a great decision. So first answer, always no. Then then I can readjust after.
yeah,
But like I think part of that kind of pull on you guys is this kind of outward, and tell me if I'm wrong, but like an outward assumption of people that are on the kind of outskirts of friendships and kind of acquaintances and things like that that don't understand this is a full-time job, and part of the job are all these other things I might be training for 2 or 3 hours or whatever your training schedule is, but all these other things I'm doing in the day, including rest, is actually in naps and things like that,
yeah,
is
Mhm.
actually things that I'm doing for my job.
yeah.
Do people realize that?
No, not
Not at all.
always, not
Yeah.
always. And I love them, so I'm not gonna say who it is, but I had a family member was like, "You don't work, like, you go to practice for a couple hours." And, like, I literally gave them the perspective, like, "You know what? You can go to your job, if you don't feel like it, like, you can give your job 50%, you can give your job 70%, you can give your job 90%." I was like, "You're still gonna get a paycheck. You're still gonna, you can show up upset or giving people attitude, whatever, and guess what? You're still gonna get paid." I was like, I'm
Mhm.
expected to show up at a certain percentage all the time. There is no,
Right.
the moment I show up at 90% or the moment I show up at 50% and the requirement isn't that for training. I said, I'm in a deficit. Like it affects my performance and my results, which is ultimately pay. Like if we're talking about prize money, diamond leagues or whatever track meets that have prize money. And I was like, so you don't look at it as that this is a job, but it really is, and the amount of everything that we have to give, the effort, how we show up. It's like, oh, you're having a bad day. Like I don't know what to tell you. You better turn it to good. It's like what? Like even with like more serious things, like it's I think about when people have like deaths in the families or things like that. Like
Mhm.
people, the job gives you leave. You get to take multiple days off. And I'm not saying you're going to get out of shape, but I feel like even in certain instances, like I don't have time to grieve. I don't got time to be sad because guess what? I have to train and I have to eventually compete. And nobody's gonna say, well, at least they got out there. They just had a tragedy. Like those people in those little group chats, they got a lot of bad things to say about you. John Drummond might call you a
Mhm.
panda. Your
Right.
performance a panda performance. I'm like, I don't know where he got that panda from. But it just is, it's just something that we're expected to always show up at pretty much 100%.
Well,
Ni-
this is
95.
this is this is the crazy part about it. There's no such thing, and like Gianna, like, is there a version of running over hurdles where you're doing it at like quarter speed or like it
No,
doesn't,
it hurts more when you run slower.
right?
Really.
Like it doesn't work that way. And
No.
when you're run, I remember we were doing a shoot with Natasha Hastings, and I think it was no, it was before the 2016 Olympics. And I'm like, okay, so what's the workout? And she's like, running 2 400s. Like that was the workout. And it's just two all out 400s. That was it.
I know, literally.
And
Probably is.
And it's not
from the
just
outside, and
food.
it was 102 degrees in Austin, Texas. And from the outside, I'm like, oh, I, like I woke up to like what this thing called track and field is on
Mhm.
that day because we're all melting just shooting her, right? And there's Mike Rogers, little kid running around with water bottles for people. It was the cutest thing you've ever seen. But they were dying on this track. And I'm like, oh my God, this is something else. I don't even know what I've been watching.
And I think people don't understand that though. Like they don't understand the behind the scenes. They just kind of see like, on that day, on that race, whatever happens, whether it be good or bad, and then they're like, oh well, like why is it bad? Like because you can have bad days, but they don't see like the blood, the sweat, and the literal tears that happen behind the scenes for you to get to where you have to go. It sucks, but it's great at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the most like I don't know. I'm obsessed. I've gotten really obsessed with this sport, Gianna. Like Jess has seen it over time as she's
So
gotten
we
to
need
know
more
me.
converters. Come on.
Oh my! This is like people don't know a tenth of this. How hard it is. And let's just kind of pile on top. If you really want to have a badass female role model, come on. What better person is than a track and field star like you guys? I mean, seriously,
I agree.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot. Like like Jonna was saying, like it's people literally only see the end result, which is the day of the race. They don't know anything else. I always thought that they should at the trials and stuff, like when they selling all the tickets and stuff, that they should like pull people from the audience and have them try to throw a shot put or try to get them to
Mhm.
high jump. They got to sign a waiver though, because some of them people gonna get hurt. Have them
They
run
unathletic.
100. Yeah, have them run just 60-meter hurdles. I don't want to see some of these people run 100 hurdles or 400 hurdles. I don't want to see none of that for some of these people. I don't want to see that. But I just feel like it would give people perspective, and
Yes.
it's just something that people, I honestly think that a lot of people don't have perspective, so they can't. It's hard to appreciate something that you really don't comprehend. I feel like you don't really understand how quickly people are moving through the hurdles and how going over the hurdle and your trail leg and your lead people are just watching something and are just saying, oh, who's first? They're not really looking at the details
Yeah.
that's making everything work together. And so I think it's important to do, because so many people, I think their ignorance is from the fact that there's just not enough education in a way where a, a random citizen could understand or even get perspective. A random citizen can have perspective of what we're doing. So many
Yeah.
people just really just remember the Olympics. Oh, you remember?
Like,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, you're training for the Olympics. It's only 3 years away. I'm like, wow, you don't know nothing about nothing, huh? You really think that this is the oh? Do you think I'm training for three? And so to me,
Right.
I want to ask you some questions. Let me ask you about how what do you think that I'm doing? And so
In that
it's
time.
just it's something I think that's important to educate people and just to give them that perspective. I remember when the high jumper from Qatar, they showed how high he was jumping on television to the NBA hoop, and like people like, dang, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's crazy. And they're like, that's high. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, y'all don't think almost 8 feet is high. You never thought that was high without y'all seeing that,
Right.
without that visual. Cause I mean, when I think of 7 feet, I'm like, so he's jumping over LeBron. He jumping over. Like in my mind, I'm
Right, right,
like,
right, right.
y'all, why do I have to break it? But for some people, they need
Yeah.
that visual. You have to
Right.
break it down. So I'm like, dang, so they high jumping over Shaq. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like this is
No, but actually though, that's crazy. I never heard it like that, but when you put it like that, that is crazy.
I live on the second floor of an apartment building in Soho in New York, and I think of it now almost every day. I'm like, Sam Kendricks can literally run across Canal Street, hop that pole in that curb, and jump into my window easily, probably multiple times.
Little warm up, huh?
That's
yeah.
insane. Just insane. So that's why when you see track and field live and in person and close up and to see the speed that you guys are moving at, and um, the grace and athleticism. And I'm always obsessed now with, how do you do this? How do you harness that for one moment? There's no, you don't get four downs in a race. You don't get, LeBron might take 30 shots in a game. You don't
Mhm.
get 30 shots, you get one.
Yeah.
You get
Just
one.
one time.
So this, like, I'm obsessed with this concept of, like, how do you guys do it? How do you harness that to go, I've done all this work, I'm bringing it all together in this one moment. How does that work?
You can go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's still an ongoing thing for me. Because I've been in the competitions that I've been in this last year really helped me to be more prepared for those high level races and stuff. Because I guess for me, last year was my first I guess time being like in diamond leagues, and so I was like, oh wow, so this is kind of what it feels like to have competition every time you run. And
Mhm.
I think also being in Coach Johnson's group, it's like the Olympics every day with him. Like he literally, we are competing every day. So it's like when we go to a track meet, we're like, oh, we just had one lap, or like, and not that it's not. I still don't have the nerves, but I just feel like I'm a little bit more prepared being with him just because he makes it so competitive every day. Like he talks mess. He gets us, kind of riled up, because that's like literally how it's going to be when you're out there. So he just wants you to be prepared. But it was definitely different at the Olympics in the final. I definitely was starstruck. There was a moment I was like, "Whoa!" Like I'm really, even though there was no one in the stands, I was like, "Wow!" Like I'm actually here. So it kind of like hit me a little differently. But it's still ongoing though. I don't think you can ever really like. Well, for me, I guess you probably can never really like get used to it, but you can be more prepared for it though.
That's a perfect answer. I don't think I should add anything to it. I think we should leave it there. I think we should. I think, it's like, period, just put the little period at the end. The preparation, key. It, yeah, yeah.
All right, so right there, this is what I love about Jessica Beard. I love her sense of humor. I love her style. Just, that's a perfect little accent to that right there. There we go.
Yeah, we don't want to do too much. It's like, you have to write one of those 30-page papers and they're crossing all this stuff. I'm just like, these are 5 pages you didn't need. These pages right here were good. It's like the same.
Leave it there. Leave it there. Jonna, did that hit you, like, literally? Did that moment hit you when you're in the blocks in the finals? Did it hit you when you walked out? Like, when did that kind of hit you?
It was low key like when they were like calling you out, like when
Mhm.
like for your lanes and stuff. And then of course I didn't think I was gonna be the first one, but I was all the way in lane 9. So I'm like, I was not prepared. I was like, and everyone was saying like I looked so nervous because I was just sitting there, like I don't even know what to do right now. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go. So I think it was literally in that moment where I was like, oh snap, your girl is here. This was what we worked for.
That's got to be a cool moment, you guys. I mean, I was talking with Devon today about this idea of, like, put aside everything that you want to do in your career going forward. Put aside all of what it took to get there. What is that little bubble of a feeling right in that moment of, like, something super satisfying, accomplished, like a big accomplishment? What is that little bubble feeling that you guys get when you really felt like, I did something?
Joy, I guess. Just joy. I feel like I always thought like when I PB, I'm gonna be on the ground, like I'm gonna be rolling around. I was like, I feel fine.
You was
Like
walking, right?
yeah, like you're in the moment that what you accomplish in that moment, you're like not starstruck with yourself, but you're in shock. You're like, oh my gosh. And then you start, well, for me personally, I start thinking of all the other things like, could I have ran faster? Why I should be on the floor? Normally I'm on the floor. I run slower than this. Why I'm not on the floor? That mean I could run faster? No, you couldn't. You did good. Oh my gosh, look at the board. Like you just I go back to the board. And so I think it's just this feeling where it's just like, I did it.
Mhm.
Like it's and like I said, it's shock, and shock can show up as different things. You know, some people yell, some people cry, some people just smile real big. Some people they just are more quiet and just are like, wow. And I to me it just shows up as shock. And like I said, it can be expressed in different ways. But it's just like, I did it. I did it. It's like you knew you could do it, you wanted to do it, you plan to do it, but it happened and it's still like, wow, like
Mhm.
it's really
Yeah.
here. Like it's here. It's not I've been talking about it. I've been tweeting about it. I've been posting about leading up to this moment, and now it finally happened and it's here. So
That's super cool.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I guess mine would be along the same lines, but just grateful, like literally, and just trying to be, I don't know, like when that moment happens, it's just like, wow, like, is this me? Like, did I do that? But I don't know. I think it was just, I don't know, because I wasn't like the greatest in college, so it's just like for me to just like, I don't know, this journey that I'm on, I'm just kind of like just in awe of the moment, and just to see where it can lead, and we still have way more to go. So I'm just grateful. Is it?
I think that's a really cool approach too, and even for what we're building at World's Greatest, I've gotten a little bit more zen about that as well. Of taking that approach of like, this will be interesting to see where it goes, right? I mean, you're on a journey, you have all these goals, you are attaining some of them, you're making adjustments as you go, but having that kind of um, approach that is, I guess, a little zen or at peace, whatever you want to call it, of we'll see where this goes. This that to me feels really healthy, and it feels like you're kind of well adjusted at that point in time, right? While still being right. I mean, you're still driven, and like, I have all these things that I want to accomplish, but I don't know all the answers. We don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but that, I mean, that's life, right? We'll see how this goes,
yeah,
right?
it is.
I still want to know what was going on with those 405. But even better than that, Jess, though, was the video you did the other day where you're like doing the hanging leg raise. It was that what it was? And that look where you look over and you're just like,
I'm like, you're doing too much. You're not really Rocky. Like, relax. Like
I
like I'm
laughed.
gonna get the other gloves out the closet, and you're gonna be like, it's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, you bracing me for it. And then it's like, I'm like, whether or not you think my abs is good is what you got going on. This is like,
go
you're
back. Everyone's got to go back and look at that video on your Instagram because it was so funny. That little look was
let me
priceless.
tell you, he talking about something. People get to see your personality. No, 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 no. There's nothing part of my personality that people want to see.
Nah,
I'm like, if I could cut your head off, that was the look, cause
that was the look.
you are doing too much. I'm like, you're not Rocky Baba, like you're not Apollo, you're not none of them. Like, relax. Like, I got you the gloves. I'm like, I'm like, oh, we're gonna make a cute little video, like just little taps. It's like they gonna know if that's not gonna be hard. You got a heavy hand. It doesn't. I'm like, you said you never lost a fight. Like,
Yeah.
talk about I said I don't know what it's like to be hit. I've never been hit, so
Right.
I can't empathize with you. Like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Anything is bad to me because I don't want to be hit. I've never been. So a tap is too hard. So yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm actually looking at the video right
Yeah.
now, and your facial expression.
Right? It's so good. It's so
Like,
priceless.
what?
Cause I'm
I'm
like,
sorry. You're really
he
looking like
really,
rough.
yeah. I'm like,
Are you
cause I'm like,
sure?
okay. He's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, you, what did you really think? You thought you was Michael B. Jordan. You thought you was trying to, like, you not his son. I don't understand.
Right. We are in a no X4, my guy. Back
Yeah,
up.
that's what I'm saying. Oh, it's nothing for me. It's just it's no hurdle. It's nothing. I just don't know about it.
Mm.
That's what I do. We gotta ask. My question, Bob's question was like more serious. My question I always ask the 400 hurdle is this because I've been asking since like Angelo Taylor. So, which race, not training for it, but which race do you feel like is harder, the 400 or the 400 hurdles for
Mm.
you?
For me,
Mhm.
the open 400.
No, and that's what's up. And I always, and why is I just want to hear I know what people have told me why they feel like, because it's like, man, but I'm gonna let you say it, and then I'm gonna say what people were saying to me.
It's so strange. Like, I don't know why, but there's just, I don't have barriers. I'm just out there running. Like, I don't say I'm bored, but I'm just like, I don't have to like go into. So I don't have the same aggression that I have in the 400
Mm,
hurdles, which I'm working on that, honestly.
yeah.
I'm working on my open 400, y'all. But
Come
I'm
on.
trying, but I don't know why. It just seems so much. I just exert so much more energy in
Mhm.
the 400, and really the 400 hurdles should be harder. But I'm like, give me the barriers. I will
Yeah.
take that any day.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, that's the majority answer. Some have
It
told me
is.
like yes, from most 400 hurdlers that I've asked, because they said for them with hurdles, like John was saying, like with hurdles, they know what, not that they don't know what to do in the 400, but they're like, it's strategy. Like it's like, do I go out hard? Do I
Yeah,
go
a
out
rhythm.
this? And they said
Hmm.
with hurdles, it's like I know exactly what I'm about to do. I'm stepping here at this certain hurdle. I might,
Mm.
switch this, but everything is rhythm. And like it's just easier because you know exactly what you're gonna do. And it's like in the 400, you think you might know exactly what you're doing, and then it's like, you know what, I gotta kick. This person I kicked, I gotta kick, or I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And they were like, it's a lot of thinking, which I thought was very interesting to hear people say, like, it's a lot of thinking in the 400 and the 400 hurdles. They don't really think, they just
Hmm.
go. And I was like, you ain't thinking because I
You
mean,
can't,
them
because you
hurdles
think you're
right
gonna hit the
there.
hurdle.
What you mean? You gotta think
Oh,
when you go
But
like
I think in the 400, there's so many different ways to run the open 400. Like, and not that there isn't for the 400 hurdles, but there's mostly like you either have like one or two ways to run the
yeah.
400 hurdles. Like the 400, I mean, I don't know. You could run it like all kinds of ways, but I guess doing it well, you have to like you guys probably stick to like a certain way. Like everyone probably like all the really great ones probably run it a certain way, but I don't know. That's like me because I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna get out the whole thing and then I'm gonna be dead. Like that's you can't run it like that.
so is it because you're staying in your own lane in the hurdles? Is that the difference?
What
Because
you
you have to stay in the lane.
No, I think it's the fact that I have 10 barriers that I have to go over. And I'm just constantly like thinking, okay, I have to go over with this leg, or, I have to be stick on this rhythm in order for me to get, around to hurdle 5 at this time. Or, it just feels different. Like I know when I'm going to do like have a good race. If my, first two hurdles are like really on point, then I just know I can set up, the rest of my race. And I don't know. It just feels different.
with the 400, if your start ain't that good, you still okay.
That
You
is
still you'll be
true.
okay, but you gotta do something then in the back because you gotta get back in the race.
You gotta
But
go when everyone not going though.
no, for sure. One time I was like, oh my gosh, girl, you did not push. She's like, it's okay. Don't try to get them at just in the first 200 because you got 200 more to go. It's like, okay, gradually get there. So I just think it's interesting. Do you? I'm curious. Do you count to your first hurdle? I remember Cassandra Tate. I remember it was her and Georgianne, and they were talking, and Cassandra's like, I do not count because she was like, if I'm off, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm
Mm,
supposed to be at this number. And then Georgianne was like, I could not possibly think about not counting. Like, I
mm.
have to count. And I was like, what you count? Because, I was just like, what you counting? 12, 13? Was
You're counting how many steps that you take to the first hurdle. But so I used to do it a lot more.
Mhm.
Now I can just kind of feel what leg is gonna
Mm.
come up. So I do it unintentionally. Like I usually just do like the first 7 steps.
Mhm.
I'll be like, okay, I need to like be here at the first
Mhm.
7 steps, and then I'm pretty usually on point, with it. So and I try not to, because then you sometimes you count and then it might throw you off a little bit too.
Mm.
I'm going with yes and no for me.
Okay.
It
Yes.
There's a lot of math in track and field,
is definitely.
right? You guys are crunching numbers. You're doing it while you're doing physical
You're doing it so
things. Like,
quickly though, like
yeah,
in
how are you processing all this? What is going on?
Burly. It's just like,
barely.
yes.
This is a fun show. This is a fun
It
show.
is. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate
Yes.
it. For
Yes.
real, it's been great.
Glad to have you. Yes. We've learned so much more about your journey. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So Gianna, well, first of all, I want to know, where are you guys racing next?
We're running at Drake Relays this weekend.
Ooh.
And it's really going to be like the hurdle mechanic show, like low key in our heat, in our 400 hurdle heat. It's going to be all four of us are taking up majority of the lane.
Yeah.
So it'll be just like practice, but we're getting money for it. So that'll be
Okay.
nice.
Come on. That's
There you
important.
go.
That's
Yeah.
Come
important.
on. Because,
Very
at
important.
practice, you just depositing to the piggy bank, but at the meet, somebody else is depositing into your piggy bank. So,
I like that. Yeah.
That's a little bit, just a smidge. But no, yeah, this Saturday the show goes on. I'm not sure the time, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere.
it should be.
How about you, Jess?
I'm running at A&M at our alumni meet, so we're having an alumni meet this weekend as well. Like, this is like a crazy weekend of multiple Drake, Penn,
Yeah.
A&M. I think
You
LSU's
doing
having a meet.
400 or
No,
200?
I'm waiting to Puerto Rico to run there because I ran
Okay.
ran a whole bunch in indoors. So I'm
Mhm.
working on my speed work. Y'all pray for me. I'm about to get out there in the 100, and not the yeah,
Ooh.
in addition to the 200. So I'm really trying to work on my reaction and my not necessarily my turnover, but let me tell you, I might be out there with them in the first 2 steps, and I'm like, how did y'all get to where y'all at on 3 and 4? Like, how come I'm not there with y'all? Like, what did y'all do that's so different? So I'm really working on that aspect of my race to help me with the 400. So I'm be out there sprinting this weekend. I'm probably gonna
I'm
be
looking
sore.
forward to this.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
be out
go,
there.
Jessica.
I'm gonna be out there.
Let's
So
go.
That's gonna be cool to see.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I love fun. You know, yeah, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to have some. I know. So Will is here in Philly, right? I think he's here. Will London.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah. He'll be running at Penn Relays too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a few others you were mentioning that. So we're gonna.
And Nicole Jurgen, she's in our group. She runs the 400, but she runs for Great Britain.
Yeah, we might do like a little one of our roundtable shows. We're probably like 4 of them. Who knows? The
Okay.
But and we also are going to be dropping. We have 10 or 11 new episodes of one-on-ones. So
Mm,
those one-on-one episodes. So
Those are
we
hilarious.
have. Yeah, wait till you guys are gonna love it. So I just approved some episodes. We have Quenisha Burks. We
mhm.
have
Cute.
yeah, Q is funny. It's a whole bunch. Oh, we have Natoya Gould is here at Penn Relay, so we
Mhm.
have her and her one-on-one. We have Bryce Hoppel's one-on-one, which
Okay.
is really amusing. So we have tons of new content that's coming out, and then we're going to be coming out to shoot with all you guys in the coming weeks and months. So that'll be all kind of new content, and we're going to make a big giant drop before Worlds. But it's all kind of a big journey of content production and all that kind of stuff. But Gianna, before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, well, on Instagram, you can find me at gwoody, G.WOODYY. And then my Twitter is underscore GEEZ and four Y's. So GZ. It might be time to change that, but well, that's
As, lo-
about it.
as
Yeah.
long as you can keep those followers, right? Change it
Yeah.
as
I
long
mean,
as you.
that's just me. That's been me since I've been, in high school. So I'm Jeezy. We just
Man, you
Giovanni.
had Twitter in high school?
Yeah, girl, it was a problem back in high school. we'll
This is-
actually went we'll actually went through like because you know how you can like search your like older tweets, so you like will type in keywords. Please don't do this, but like you can type in keywords and then you can like literally see, and I was a hot mess back in 2011, but that was like 17-year-old G, so
Oh,
I was a little scrub,
this is gonna
so
be good. We're gonna pull all that back out. We're gonna
oh man.
work that into some new content. You're gonna have to prove it
Discretion
first.
advised. Oh man.
That's so
yeah.
good. That's so good. Well, Gianna, great having you. We can't
Yeah,
wait to see you soon.
I
Thank you.
know.
Um,
I
See you
look
on the
forward to
blue
seeing.
oval.
I know
Blue oval.
I'm gonna see you soon, girl. I'm gonna be at all you guys' trials all the time. I always tag along there. I
Okay.
hey,
can't be here by myself, so
we know June 12th is a Diamond League event in New York City, so I'm
yeah.
sure I'm sure you guys
I
will be here.
Yeah, that's on.
One of those Continental Cups or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm. I
So
think that's of meets to run at. It's either
yeah,
between or I think Rome, but we will see.
we'll see. We will see. All right. Well, Jess and I
I
are going to
appreciate
close out
y'all.
the show. We're going to let you go, G. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank
Thank you guys. Have a great
Thank
night.
you too.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Jessica,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how we keep doing it, but I come to the end of a show and I'm like, wow, that was a really good show. This could be our best show yet. Like I end up doing this like all the time. I'm so obsessive that like I'll go back later tonight. I'll rewatch the show to see what I think were the good spots, not so good spots. See where we can break it down and improve it.
Really good show. I really liked tonight's show. It was good. It flowed well. We got a lot of good perspective and insight. I love, like I said, Jonna just able to share her story and how pretty much her breakthrough year.
That's really cool, right? I mean, I think the way that you guys, first of all, I didn't know that you guys knew each other,
Yeah.
so that was really cool. And you guys clearly, she has so much respect for you, and obviously you for her.
Yeah.
So, that I thought that was, it was just really cool to see, and yeah, I thought we got into like some really cool topics,
Yeah, for sure.
and yeah. So again, I appreciate you coming back out, and
Yeah, thanks for having me.
you're like when we do this, you're the anchor leg. I'm just like trudging out there, but and I'm just looking to pass that baton. Please go. Here it is. Go
No, it's great. You do a great job.
win that race for us, Jess.
You do a great job. Great job facilitating and helping us transition and asking all the right questions.
So, are you ready for Thursday's show? By the way,
Yes.
okay. So
Yes,
Thursday.
I'm not traveling till Friday this week.
Okay.
And I'm
So
getting my massage
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wait, what? What's going on Tuesday?
Wednesday, I'm getting a massage. So
Oh, Wednesday. So
Thursday.
you're gonna be feeling good. Yeah, working out all the kinks.
Yes.
Devon's actually doing his massage on Wednesday too. So
Okay.
Devon is like Thursday. We're gonna do the blowout show. We're gonna do it live. We'll do it here at our Airbnb.
Oh, that'll
We're
be
gonna
cool.
we're gonna have special guests. So we'll see what happens and how we can do it live all in one room. We'll all be scrunched together in one couch or something. I don't know how we're gonna pull that off, or we'll just be in different rooms around
Yeah.
the Airbnb. Just be yelling to each other.
that'll be cool.
But I think that it'll be a fun show. We have a bunch of folks that are here. We're going to be shooting with Ajay Wilson and a number of other athletes. Natasha Hastings is in town coaching. Natoya Gould's competing.
Oh, that'll
a
be really.
thing Mo is in town. Yeah, lots of people. So we'll see. We'll see who. But I think Thursday show will probably have, maybe we'll have like a little rotating group of people
Okay.
kind of coming in. So it should be fun.
Yes, sounds good.
So where can everyone find you, Jess, on your socials?
They can find me at Rain, the number two, REIGN number two on Instagram, or Run to Rain on Twitter, Jessica Beard on Facebook. Yeah, that's where they can find me.
There we go. And World's Greatest, you can find us, World's Greatest Team on Instagram. We're World's Greatest on YouTube. And then on Twitter, we're World's Greatest without any vowels. And I can't do that, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go
We got to
World's
leave
Greatest.
that for Devon.
Devon's good at it, so he can do it. No vowels. But so thanks, Jess. Great
Thank
show.
you.
Really appreciate it. Have
Thanks
a great
everybody
night.
for watching. Yes, see you on Thursday.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.